Stop it, Jelly Baby, son of a bitch. Hello and welcome to the Chattercave podcast, where we usually discuss media in the form of just reading news articles and giving our opinions on them, and occasionally reviews, like the old days.
No, I thought you said them. I thought you said getting our peens on them. I was like, whoa. I ain't getting my peen hand.
I mean, you're the one who put your penis on the TV and went, hey look, my cock's on TV.
They're quite funny, actually.
But yeah, I'm your host, Ranking Thomas Hughes. I'm joined by the cock of the TV, Mr. Zenny F _ aka Connor O'Shea.
Seen on TV.
I seen on TV. So it's just the fucking SpongeBob thing when he always says, I've seen on TV. Really low voice, just that. But I bet your cock. But yes, so today, Connor's going to sit back and chime in every now and again, because I just got back from the movies and I saw the new Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. The 5th Indiana Jones movie, and the first since what, 2000, like, was it 8, 9?
Something like that. Last one was Crystal Skull, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was the first one since, like, the what was it, late 80s, anyway.
Didn't you go, like, everyone hate it as well?
Critics, apparently, from what I was looking on Rotten Tomatoes, critics bummed the shit out of it. Audience, like, shot the shit out of it. I remember being okay. I just remember it was another film full of like really bad CGI. It was weird because it didn't feel like a full Indiana Jones film. Like it was clearly they're trying to pass the torch on, but it's just like I don't think anyone wanted them to pass the torch on. I think everyone would rather it just be a finale. That'd be it. If you're going to do another Indiana Jones, then reboot it. We don't really want you to just pass the torch on and have some random guy leading an Indiana Jones film, even though he's not Indiana Jones. Which is what I think this new one does well, because this one, Dial of Destiny, is a last hurrah. It is the ending. It's not a passing of the torch. It is a last hurrah of Indy, which you can tell by how old Harrison Ford is throughout this movie. I mean, the first time you see his older self, he's just asleep with his shirt off. And he gets woken up by loud music from kids. And he gives David a bass player like, hey, keep the noise down! Oh, how Indy has fallen. He's just
old man.
He's gone from being old man Indiana Jones to just being Harrison Ford IRL. Harrison stopped playing Indy, he's just started playing Harrison. But yeah, like, it is a lot better than obviously what the early critics said it was. I mean, was it 50% originally?
Yes.
And I've been laughing with you about the fact that it's been slowly creeping up to a 66% last time I saw.
Slowly getting there.
It's been slowly getting up to like a reasonable scoring. I'd say it's better than that. I'd say it's better than Crystal Skull, because obviously A, there's no dodgy CGI, and B, it's not a forced passing of the torch, it's legit an ending. Yeah, they do a thing at the end where it's like, is it the end? Is it not the end? But at the same time, it's just like, yeah, it's the end. I don't think he's going to do any more after this. I mean, unless they just use like fucking deep fake AI on people. Because I mean, the opening, which is obviously the de-aging sequence, is really good. Like, it's de-aging CGI. It's crazy how good de-aging CGI is. Like, when you're watching it, like, is that the same guy? What? How? Am I in 1980? The only difference is, obviously, he has his gruffer voice, so you can just, like, yeah, it's just a 70, 80-year-old Harrison Ford pretending to be a young whippersnapper again. But still, it's a good sequence. Obviously, that's the one it's obviously fully focused in the war during the Nazis, and he's fighting his way through a bunch of Nazis in, like, a pretty cool, like, opening sequence. That's, you know, got the classic as he's running across the top of the train. And, you know, he's got the classic him beating up Nazis, which obviously Hayden like pointed out something like some weird like fucking like review thing. Someone saying that what was that thing you said to me yesterday about Indiana Jones? It's like someone said about the new one. It's basically just
they're basically saying like typical Indiana Jones having him punching a Nazi, explaining why Nazis are bad guys. So kind of the point.
He didn't see his reaction, but his reaction was
like, it's not very hard to explain why they're the bad guy.
Exactly. Oh, and she said that to me, and I looked at him. I was like, "I'm sorry, what were they smoking at the point where they said that?" Because
I mean, Nazis are bad guys, obviously all the time, but especially when the time period is set in that film, it's during the fucking war, so of course it's going to be even worse.
Exactly. Like this one is set
dance.
At the very end of the war, isn't it? This one is. It's the very end of the war. The war's pretty much over, which they
Hitler is in
hiding. They say. So this is pretty much like the brink of the ending of the war for the young sequence, which I say is pretty cool. The whole train sequence is really good. The de-aging CGI is really good. I mean, I'm guessing that's why the budget was so high. Is like they pumped all the
aging was like Captain Marvel level.
Yeah, I feel like
Skywalker.
I feel like that's what where all the money went was into that whole de-aging to make sure it was spot on. Because I mean, it's like one of the most expensive movies of this year in terms of how much it cost to make. Like almost like 300 million for an Indiana Jones film. That's a lot of money. And it's when I'm watching, I was like, the only reason things I can see is the sort of the last act that maybe that's cost a bit. The underwater stuff maybe, because I know some shots that look you can tell were a bit CG, and obviously the de-age, and I'll say those are the big ones that cost the most money. Either that or just Harrison Ford just wanted a lot of money to do this last movie.
I think this is the one film I think Harrison Ford.
Yeah, if you listen to a lot of the like interviews, look on like, when you go to the cinema, the last few times there's been like a little Indiana Jones thing at the start. The director side always said like he basically is easily able to adapt back into this role because this role is something that's built for him. Because I feel like the fan base isn't as toxic as Star Wars.
Star Wars fan base, so it's very divided.
It's not as toxic and it's not as demanding because if you think about it, he's done 5 films now with this. Obviously, Star Wars he did 4 movies. But it's just like that was like his early work. The Star Wars ones was, and it's like the idea of he couldn't get out of the shadow of Star Wars, which is why he kind of hated it. He was kind of stuck in the shadow of Star Wars, whereas he broke off with Indiana Jones, his own little franchise. But obviously, if you think about that, that's probably the reason he got Indiana Jones was because of Star Wars, because it being George Lucas. He probably was like, let's get you again. We'll get you doing indie. I mean, everything about this is literally the same stuff as Star Wars. I mean, Lucas was involved throughout the franchise. I mean, obviously, John Williams has been involved throughout this franchise. I mean, his score is so magnificent, as always. You could get a wisp of Star Wars in one shot, and I was watching it, I was like, is that one like cheers from Star Wars? Like when they're always like looking off into the distance, there's like little somber music that's usually plays. It's like the end of the film before it kicks in there. It's like a shot that's like that. I was like, isn't that just the theme from Star Wars? As John Williams has gone, fuck it, they're probably not going to notice. Let's just copy and paste that file in there. But yeah, it's like, there's some good stuff. They kind of make little sort of reference to each sort of movie. I mean, there's a reference to Temple of Doom because the bit when you've seen Temple of Doom, right? You've seen the older Indiana Jones films.
I've seen which one? Temple of Doom. I've watched them all, but I can't remember which one.
Dr. Jones.
Yeah, I have seen. Yeah. Because I've seen all of them. I just can't remember what.
He has to drink like the blood and stuff like that
from the head.
Yeah. Obviously, there's a reference to that in this movie. There's obviously a little sort of references to characters you've seen. I mean, there's 2 characters actually from the old ones who make a return. You've got like little reference in the background, i.e. there's a picture of Sean Connery in the background, obviously because he's dad, isn't he? So obviously you see the little reference to that, and there is a reference to obviously his son from the 4th one, which without spoiling anything, basically they kind of very quickly use that as part of like an emotional arc for the story.
Oh no, he did.
I mean, would you really call it spoilery? Because I mean, they're kind of eradicating him from the franchise anyway. Like, would you call it spoilery if I said, yeah, they basically suddenly go, yeah, he kind of died. I won't say how, because it's off screen anyway, so they kind of eradicate him from the movie. Which, as I was watching, I was internally pissing myself. I was like, they've literally just eradicated Shia LaBeouf from this franchise. The character they built to literally take the reins of Indiana Jones from Harrison Ford until all this shit happened in IRL with fucking him and also the clusterfuck that was the reaction from the audience to the 4th one. Obviously, there's like, yeah, he's dead. Oh, it's emotional. Let's just use that. But I will say, there's not much whipping action in this film.
No.
The only one that, obviously, the main bit really is in the trailer when he whips all the people. He's like, get back, and they'll pull out the guns on him. That's the main sort of real point he really gets to whip out. I think he gets it during the start for a little tiny bit, but not like heavily. But literally the main bit is literally just that bit. He pretty much rarely uses it. He has a few little punching moments. I mean, he's old. He probably can't properly keep going like that, can he?
Can't get his little fists in that.
So, I mean, it's a swan song. I mean, you're not going to expect him to be exactly like he was in the old ones. So, I mean, if you think about Crystal Skull, yeah, it was old, but I mean, it was still like over 10 years younger than he is now, so he could do a bit more than he could now. Whereas this, that there has to be a limit of how far you can go and how far, as an audience, you look at it and be reasonable of like, yeah, like the 70-odd-year-old man can do that. You know what I mean? So you have to kind of judge it that way, and I think they handle that pretty well because, as I say, there is a few punching moments when he's older, but it does show that he's not as young. There's literally a shot where there's two people with guns on him. He tries to take them out, and he like pushes the one and then gets caught instantly. Like that shows like old Indy would have just bang bang whack whack, like he would have took them all out. But this Indy's like, hey! Oh for fuck's sake! Okay, guys, you can take me. Like it is funny like seeing this old man doing some crazy ass shit. I mean, there's a bit of a bookshelf. It's like not like a bookshelf, like a display shelf, like they have like museums and they keep like artifacts on and stuff like that.
Oh yeah,
It's like a whole rack of them, and to escape some bad guys, he jumps on it and it just falls over, and like a domino effect takes them all out. You see his face go as he's going down, and that was pretty funny. But as I say, it is funny seeing like this old man trying to do these like crazy ass stunts, but not too over the top, like Tom Cruise level of over the top. It's actually more set back and more kind of realistic. I will admit the ending is very over the top. Like, you saw the last one, didn't you, Crystal Skull one?
Yep.
No, when obviously there's an actual alien. There's a legitimate alien, and that's quite over the top.
Yeah.
This has the idea of time travel. I won't get into full detail, but let's just say the concept of what they're trying to deal with is very over the top. But it's not riddled with bad CGI like the Crystal Skull ending was, so it's fine.
That's actually a decent watch.
It's something that as you watch it, you're like, as they kind of like keep hinting at stuff, you're like, oh, it's not gonna happen. This isn't gonna happen. This isn't gonna happen. And then when it kind of does happen, you're like, oh, okay. I did not actually think they were gonna go through it. I thought it was gonna be one of those sort of things where it's just like, you think it's gonna happen, then it's just like, yeah, no, even though that's fucking, you're not gonna do it like that. And then it makes me feel like fucking Vin Diesel's watching this movie and going, I know how Fast and Furious 11's going. DeLorean style.
Oh my god, it would not surprise me.
He fucking hijacks a DeLorean. But yeah, there's a lot of really cool moments. It is quite a long film. It's like 2 hours 20. It's like the longest indie movie by at least 20 minutes. But I feel like that's a way of like dragging the story out a bit more, and especially the fact that they brought in a new character, obviously in the form of I know her first name's Phoebe, I think it is, in IRL. I can't remember now off the top of my head. But basically the actress who's basically she's his goddaughter in this franchise now.
Oh yeah, the one from Fleabag and stuff.
Yeah, the one from Fleabag. Like, obviously, they've got to try and give her character a bit more. Because, I mean, his character, really, you don't need to do much with it. It's been built over 4 films already. All you got to do is just show he's a cranky old man, trying to get back into his roots, trying to basically help and deal with stuff. It's this character, this new character, you got to try and build up this basically archaeologist thief. Like, she's basically the same character as him, but she's more of a I'll sell it to the highest bidder kind of character rather than I'm going to put this in the museum. Whereas obviously if you look at Shia LaBeouf in the 4th one, he was meant to be more like your generic greaser type character. That was basically the only reason he'd fit the indie idea is the fact that A, he was his blood, and B, it was just the fact that he could like, actually fight. Whereas obviously this character that's coming is basically meant to be the adventurer side. But how I'd put it is basically this movie is your adventure movie for your older generation. Some younger generations might enjoy it. I enjoyed it because I like James Mangold. It wasn't as good as I was hoping it was going to be. So, especially with James Mangold doing Logan, I was like, come on, it's got to be good. It's not as good as Logan, very obviously. And I wouldn't say it's my favourite Mangold movie. I like that Ford versus Ferrari film a bit better than this. And I don't like racing, and it's weird that I like that one more than an adventure movie. But still, obviously this is your more older generation adventure movie, whereas, say, like Uncharted last year was your more younger generation action-adventure movie. So it is quite interesting to put both up side by side and compare. But this idea of this young adventurer versus this old retiring adventurer, it does balance out really well, realistically, in terms of, like, if you're an adventure movie fan, you've got 2 types of movies. You've got a young upcoming adventurer, an old going out adventurer. So I like that the last year have done that, and you also have the connection for the fact that Antonio Banderas is in both fucking movies. because obviously he's the villain of Uncharted, or one of the villains, and he's obviously Indy's like friend that he knows from back in the day that you never met before. But hey, friends,
He's back.
you gotta get an emotional attachment to this character. But yeah, every time I hear Antonio Banderas talk, I can't just like not picture Puss in Boots popping on the screen going, "Hey, Indy, where's Shrek?" But still, it is obviously it is like a really cool thing that they've done. They've gone like, okay, we've got Uncharted for the young whippersnappers. Got Indiana Jones for the old timey / the people that kind of grew up with it. So it is cool that you obviously can have both audiences kind of enjoy both in their own right. So it's not like a copy and paste type thing. That's why if you look at a lot of superhero movies, for example, obviously I love superhero movies, I love comic book movies, but a lot of times they are copied and pasted and they are basically the same sort of movies, but with different characters and whatnot. Whereas you look at both of these, like if you look at Uncharted from last year and you look at Indiana Jones Dial of Destiny from this year, or any Indiana Jones film really, they're so drastically different. One's a very over-the-top, action-heavy type movie, with obviously a lot of comedy whips and whatnot, since it's obviously Mark Wahlberg and obviously Tom Holland. And you got the other one, which is more, there is a bit of action, and there is some over-the-top nature in it. I mean, like the Ark of the Covenant, and the fucking, the blood and all, the aliens and basically everything about this. There is the over-the-top element to it, but it's not as over-the-top action-wise as like Uncharted. I mean, if you look at the Uncharted film, there's a whole that whole plane sequence, which is obviously ripped from the game.
Oh yeah,
like,
yeah.
That is very over-the-top action, whereas any of these, most of their action scenes are usually chasing or a quick fighting. There's nothing, I don't think, as heavy as that. I mean, there's a massive plane sequence in this film, but it's more of the case of planes flying, some people are shooting from below, and then it's in this, obviously the trailer, there's jump out this plane. Like, it's not, planes going down, fucking everything, cars falling from it. It's not that level over top, but it has its own over topness. Yeah, so it's nice to see the two different balancing of action adventure movies. I do like that. Trying to think what else can I think off the top of my head. Obviously Harrison Ford's good. He's good again. I mean, he carries these movies pretty well. But I think this time he's got a really good supporting cast to help carry. Obviously her at Fleabag, she's got obviously this wit about her, which is pretty cool. There's this little kid who basically like a pickpocket thief. He's pretty much like a nobody, but he has his moments. Obviously other side character like Antonio Banderas coming in with the Antonio Banderas charm as always. The little bring back characters that you've seen before. Obviously it's nice to see them back and see them again. Obviously the one in the trailer, I think it's Jonathan Rhys Davies. I think it is Jonathan Rhys Davies. Then the trailer, the guy's like, "Go get him, Indiana Jones!" That guy.
Oh yeah.
That guy obviously is from the original and the third movie, so he's still got that obviously energy for an older guy, which is pretty cool to see. And obviously then you got your villains. You got Mads Mikkelsen, the guy who played fucking Hannibal Lecter, as well as like many other villains over the years. And
your very villain face.
But yeah, obviously he's pretty good as obviously the Nazi villain. Obviously, and Nazi in this guy. Oh, he's working for the president. He's very clearly not a Nazi. Of course he's not. His name's Schmidt. I mean, obviously, as an audience member, obviously you're watching him in the past and then seeing him in the present. You're like, okay, he's a bad guy. It's obvious he's the Nazi, but it's just the fact that it's just like he's managed to blend in all this time, and he goes by the name Schmidt, which is pretty funny. But yeah, and obviously you got his like generic henchman, a really massive like Hulk-like giant guy, and his small guy from Narcos, the copper. He was in Logan. He was the guy with the robot arm, the henchman.
Oh yeah.
He's like he's other henchman. Obviously they're decent villains. And that's all it really is to say. It's a lot better than what I originally thought. Obviously, when I saw the trailers, I was hyped for it. I know you like. There's nothing really that's drew me in on the trailers.
Yeah.
But me, I was interested because I'm a big Indiana Jones fan. I like the original trilogy, and I find Crystal Skull entertaining to an extent. Like it's still an entertaining movie, even if it's flawed by bad CGI and some other stuff. There's a lot of films out there that are flawed with bad CGI, but are still pretty entertaining. Looking at you, Flash, that's kind of like just destroyed itself at the box office. And then thanks to a Twitter leak, it's kind of this dead now entirely. But yeah, so obviously I'm a sucker for it, so I was hyped for it. Plus James Mangold behind it, that got me through the roof in excitement after watching Logan, especially being a swan song hero. I was like, this should be realistically a good movie. Plus his last film I saw, which is the Ford vs Ferrari film, was pretty damn good, which surprised me how much I really enjoyed that movie. I mean, I can have a look at my that come out 2019. I think come out. I can tell you right now where it landed on my like 2019 like list. 15th out of 70 movies. That's not bad.
I haven't watched it, but I've seen a ton of clips from it.
That's not, in my opinion, out of 15 out of 70. That's not too bad. That's quite high. That's top 20 films of 2019 for me. And there's quite a fucking few good films that came out that year. That was the last.
You watched too many films, man.
I know I do. I watch way too many films. But yeah, so I was like hyped as hell. But then obviously the first reviews came out from that film festival last month. I was like, oh no, please don't be as bad as this. 50%. Oh my god. Slowly creeping. I was like, okay, this is a bonus. It gets close to release date. It gets to about 66%. I was like, not as high as I was hoping. I mean, if you look at the other Indiana Jones movies on like Rotten Tomatoes, if I get the ratings up at the moment, Indiana Jones. Obviously, it's the easiest way to compare them because I can have them all on the screen at the same time. Like the lowest it went realistically was 77%, and that was for both the second and the fourth one. So I was like rated it the lowest of the franchise. I was like, well, I'm gonna go in with an open mind because I know critics talk out their fucking asses. I mean, look at Transformers. They talked out their ass for that, and it actually was a pretty entertaining film. But yeah, and as I went into it open mind, and I was like, it's long. It's a long film. It is drawn out at times, but it's still a pretty solid, entertaining goodbye Harrison Ford as Indiana Jones.
So what's your overall
rating? I've been debating this since I finished it. I was just like, oh, I've literally just had to look. Cause I think I prefer it to The Flash because obviously, unlike The Flash, I think The Flash is the fun element. But obviously the CGI does hinder it. Whereas I think this has more nostalgia that helps this. I think nostalgia definitely helps me with this. Obviously the directing, the cinematography, the acting, the music, a lot of this does help quite slow at times maybe, but to be fair, Logan at points was pretty slow. It slowed down to a point, and obviously you had your big set pieces, and most of the rest was pretty slow and more character development, which this one does as well. So I say I've been debating. So I think I double checked my Flash rating, which was 8.5, and at the moment, obviously I always change my ratings as I rewatch because that's what people do. You rewatch and you go, actually, I think it's different. But
yeah,
off my first rating, I'm going with an 8.7 out of 10.
What do you rate the originals?
Originals like in the 9s.
No, it's okay. So a bit less than the originals.
So I'd put this
less than the
original trilogy, but I'd put it higher than Crystal Skull. Crystal Skull for me is like a 7. So I'd put this higher than that. But I said the original trilogy for me is like in the between 9 and 10. Like they're that good. I need to rewatch them though. I do need to rewatch them at some point.
I don't think I've ever seen you put a movie in less than a 6.
Oh, but if you saw some of my, I can tell you right now one film instantly for my 2023 list that's already in a low rating. Win the Pooh.
Oh, yeah, okay.
0.5 out of 10.
Well, that's not really serious. So that's like a throwaway film. Zero budget.
I thought 65 was like a 4. Like Adam Driver, Dinosaur 1.
You like Cocaine Bear, and I've heard bad stuff about that film. I've heard everyone talk shit on that film, saying there's no character development. The film's focused on like multiple characters at once, and nothing's built, and then it's just like done.
Cocaine Bear's
I've heard so many complaints about that film.
It's fucking funny, that film is. Even Hayden liked it, and she doesn't like horror films.
That's not really a horror film.
Horror comedy. It's a horror comedy. Cocaine Bear.
Yeah.
You enjoyed that, didn't you? It's quite funny. Oh, it's kind
of really horror though. It's not scary though.
it's horror comedy. It's referred to as because obviously the fact that it eats people, so technically it's a horror in that sense, but it's horror comedy. No, that's
bears eat people in real life. It's not horror.
It's a horror comedy referred to as. But like Tucker and Dale, it's referred to as a horror comedy. That's how you kind of refer to
horror themes.
That's what I mean. It's got you running a horror film of a killer bear, but it's heavily a comedy. It's more comedy than horror, but there is the little element of horror, which does push it into that category of horror comedy type movies. Like Megan's a horror comedy kind of thing at times, but it's more horror than comedy. But yeah, no, I've got plenty of films that are fucking low rate. I say Cocaine Bear was pretty fun. I think that's what helped that movie. Is it was a pretty damn fun film.
It's like a random film everyone's jumping on. I suppose
its characters weren't developed. I admit that, but I don't think it needed heavily developed characters. I mean, it's a one-shot movie. I don't think it needs. I don't think it needs these characters that are heavily developed. It just needs the idea of what their characters are about, and that's it. Just go. Like any horror film, realistically, does it? If it's like a slasher movie or anything, does it realistically need heavy developed characters? No.
The only time you develop Michael too much.
So I mean, you don't. A lot of horror films and horror comedy, you don't really need. You just need a little bit of development about that character, like a little bit about him, and that's it. You get through the rest of the movie. You don't need a full fucking like. I feel like with Jaws, that needed it because it's less sharp because obviously issues with the obviously mechanical side of it, and it's plot driven. It needs that. Whereas I say like Cocaine Bear. It's not plot driven. Its whole drive is about this fucking bear off its tits on cocaine, going around just eating anything and going after anyone covered in cocaine. Like that's what it is. But yeah, I don't think it needed like massive characters, or characters like heavy character development. It just needs the idea of this is the mom trying to get her daughter. This is a bunch of criminals trying to get their drugs back. Done. Oh, and the police trying to get rid of the police trying to deal with the drug people, and then obviously the unlucky people that are running the actual park getting screwed over. So obviously, I just don't think it needed the character development, especially for a film that's only on for like an hour. Was it an hour and a half? Hour 40 minutes, something like that. Like, it doesn't need it. It just needs a bear killing people and comedy, and it got both of those. But yeah,
I've just never heard any good stuff come from it. I've never heard anyone really say anything was amazing. Every time I've watched a review or anything on it, they're just like, "Yeah, it's really bad." Obviously, I've not watched it. I'm taking your word for it and their word for it, I guess. But
I mean, if you go on like say the button things on Rotten Tomatoes, which is the easiest thing for me to click on, it's like around the 70 mark for both. It's like just below 70 for critics. Just slightly above 70 for audience. So it's referred to as more one of those entertaining ones, which it pretty much is. It's just an entertaining film about a bear off its tits. It's probably one of the better bear films out there. I mean, I've seen plenty of films with killer bears that are the shit. I mean, it's that one I watched not long ago. I've been wanting to watch it for fucking years. It's based on slightly true events. And I heard good stuff about it. And I was like, oh, I'll give it a watch, and I watched it. I was bored out of my mind. I was like, this is shit. I can't remember what it was called. So like, I can't remember why I wanted to. I think I wanted to watch it because it's a very similar idea and theme to another film I'd seen. But as I watched it, I was fucking like, this was a waste of fucking time. But yeah, so yeah, 8 point. What did I say? Did I say 8.7? Did I say?
Yeah, I think so. He's gonna put down maybe 1 point. I don't know.
I've lost track of what I said.
So 8.8. It's easy to remember.
The Harrison Ford age is just kicking into me now. I'm starting to forget what numbers I said. I think I said 8.7. But yeah, anyway, the funny article I wanted to say to you. There's an article on here. For some reason, it says all times Harrison Ford was spotted in Northeast as Indiana Jones 5 released. It's just an article about every time someone spotted Harrison Ford out on the streets. What kind of article is that?
Who cares?
I just saw it and I was scrolling through, obviously, Indiana Jones stuff on obviously Google. That's the one article that popped up from almost 24 hours ago. every time Harrison Ford was spotted in this one area when Jennifer Jones 5 came out. Oh, I can't even get my words out now. It's just a really dumb article. It's that dumb, it's making me dumber. I have to say dumber because I already am dumb. I mean, I had a 40-year-old man over who's trying to stop him sending an email, so that shows how dumb I am. Then again, does it show how dumb I am, or does it show how committed I am to making sure that your old man doesn't seem dumb? Then again, they probably saw that email and was like, I don't think your old man sent that. I think that was more like someone else sent it. It's too worded. It's too smart and not all in capitals. Stop doing this, please. It's like a chimp.
If you have an infinite amount of chimps and an infinite amount of typewriters and an infinite amount of time, eventually they'll write the words of Shakespeare.
I'll tell you what, though.
That's O'Shea.
I'll tell you what, though. One of the things that upset me about the movie, we didn't have the person come in at the start of the film and say, "Hello, welcome." Honestly, she's only just realised that no one came in at the start of the movie. She's literally just looked at me. She looked at me, look at me. She goes, "That's what."
Then someone come in the whip.
They should have. To be fair, there wasn't that many staff there really today. I mean, they had the two behind the fucking counter. You had one really big buff hench guy sitting by the fucking ticket thing going, "Wait to go to their place. Enjoy the film." And I saw one guy upstairs. That was it. There wasn't really many people, staff in there. But yeah, honestly, the thing come on the screen with the join a light thing for basically $15.99 a month. And when that comes on, that's you when it's starting to unblur. That's when usually someone walks in and is like, right, okay, before the movie starts, blah 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 blah. And literally no one came in. I was just like, it come on the screen with the black thing. I was like, is someone going to do what they did last time? I'm going to go, thank you, enjoy the show. And I was like, is I going to do that? Film starts with the Disney logo. I'm like, no one. Oh my god, it's like the first film I've been to that no one's come in and said anything. Like,
I'd like to imagine that at the start all the films around the same time. He just like tried to get there as fast as he could, but missed it. He just
opened the door, he looked in, he started, he's like, for fuck's sake. It's just the map. It's the map, like, as it's going across. It's the map of the fucking. It's the blueprint drawings of the fucking building. It's the fucking line going across.
Hello, welcome to Light Cinema.
I haven't seen her in there for ages.
I think she's gone.
Probably. But yeah, I was shocked that no one was in there. I was literally shocked no one came in. Then again, obviously, we went to fucking Burger King beforehand for our lunch. And I got a free, like, large fries. They clearly put way too many fries in my fucking thing.
They put too much.
But it was literally overfilling, like, massively overfilling. I didn't even finish them all, that's how much there was. I said to Hayden, I reckon why it was, because obviously I ordered one of those Fanta drinks I got there. I had the lemon one last time. I was like, I'll have the strawberry one this time, and next time I'll have the mix. And I ordered it. And obviously they called our number. I was like, fucking that was quick. Like, literally, we just sat down. We just ordered, just sat down. It's like, and obviously it was just the fucking drinks. And I walked over and she's like, oh, I just noticed you put basically strawberry, but I put mix. And I was like, I don't give a shit. I'm not going to be like, oh no, fucking take that back. Fucking get a new one.
Take a book back.
I'm not going to carry it. So I was just like, that's fine. I'm okay with it. So I reckon they're literally like, it was kind with that. Let's put some more chips in there. But I tell you what, the fucking update, I was in the Burger King, the machine things they got there. Yeah. She ordered from. They obviously must have updated the system. It's a pain in the fucking arse. Obviously, now when you usually click something and it comes up with all the stuff that you can take off, add stuff and whatnot, so you can actually customize your meal. Yeah. If you basically when you click on it now, it comes up with two options. Obviously, you have make it a meal, basically a basic burger, like basically with the chips and drink. If you click meal, it'll give you that screen. You click basically just a burger, it just puts the burger in the back. It doesn't let you customize it. And we're like, what the fuck? Because obviously she wanted a hamburger, and obviously she didn't want a meal. So obviously we were kind of fucked. It was like, what the fuck? But I found a loophole. I managed to accidentally find a loophole in the system. Literally, she tried to do it again. I was like, it's not working. I hit back. I hit the button back to go back. Took us to the screen to customize it. So if you click on it, if you want basically, if you untick the button that says make it a meal and hit back, it'll put it on the customization screen. If anyone's listening,
it's called Indiana Jones Review / Burger King Machine Hack.
So if anyone's gone to Burger King and found this issue, there's your fix for it.
How to get free large fries. Get your order wrong. Get free large fries. Press back on machine to get to previous menu that was accessible before update 1.2. That's what it's saying.
Life hack.
Then again, I was at the machine where you poured the drink in last time, and I ain't got a fucking clue. I was like,
I mean, the one I got. I think I've still got that picture of you. The one
I think that.
When I put it in the chat, saying like I found like
Yeah,
a Neanderthal fucking typing in the machine.
Well, it's because the ones at Toby Carver is touchscreen, so you press the screen, it pours the drink, but that one you have to press the screen, then press the button. So it's like, well, they're pressing the screen. What the fuck's going on? I just tried my best.
That picture.
It won't work. So we watched Dungeons and Dragons. That was it.
That was the 2nd of April on the Sunday. So yes, it was because we went the Sunday, didn't we?
Yes.
We went on the Sunday to watch it. So yeah, it would have been Dungeons and Dragons. I need to rewatch that because I think it comes out soon to buy. I need to rewatch that to get my second opinion on it.
I still like the fact that one guy who kept walking away, like legit was just walking away.
Yeah.
Like, didn't ask him to just get going and see how long he'd go for.
Any news that jumps at your mind that you want to get off your chest before we wrap it up? Anything you can think of them?
The only two things I've got is Starfield has done a partnership with AMD, so there's no DLSS in Starfield on PC. And people are like, oh, that's so stupid. I understand why they're trying to do that, but Xbox runs on AMD, so of course they're going to do that. And then obviously the other thing is Final Fantasy overheating people's PlayStation.
Oh, what you told me about. I literally that Final Fantasy advertised at the cinema again, and I was sitting there, I was like, that's overheating people's PlayStations right now.
It looks so good though. Like if I had PlayStation, I'd 100% have it. It looks so fucking good.
So you can watch your PlayStation blow up on you.
Hell yeah. When people are like, oh, just clean your PlayStation, so I was like, I literally bought a PlayStation 4. This is still overheating. Like, it's not like an issue with dust. It's just fucking.
I bet you just took it out the box and it's fucked.
I guess it's just like an intensive game. I don't know what fight it is. I don't think it's all throughout the game. I think it might be towards the end fight. So obviously, it's big fight. Probably like just fucking tanking like everything to go in 100%. Like, so. I just thought it's funny watching people like do this fight and all of a sudden you beep 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 and the PlayStation goes off and then comes back on like please leave alone.
That'd piss me off that one like mid fight. I've been weighing up before when like I think it was Assassin's Creed Odyssey. I was doing the obviously you got the monster fights. You can fight different monsters. Obviously I was fighting Medusa, which is quite a difficult fight. I remember having to do it 3 or 4 times because the game kept crashing. I was like, I was proper like losing at this point. I think there might have been like a slight like mark on the disc and it basically goes into crash and I was just getting very fucking frustrated. Like mid fight, I'm doing my hardest and then it just crashes and I was like,
from what I can gather from what people are saying, it's the way obviously the PlayStation's thermal paste is. It's like liquid thingy, so that's what people reckon's causing the current problem. Like it's not. But obviously, maybe, for example, PlayStations that have been sat around for a bit longer, maybe they're a bit older, I guess. I can't remember, but it's like liquid metal, I think, that they use. Obviously, but you could, on like an Xbox, it's pretty easy to place thermal paste you can kind of get from anywhere, but I don't know how much liquid metal it is.
Quick Google, are you?
Yeah, I want to see how much it costs. Liquid metal thermal paste. It's like 11 quid, but I don't know how good that one is. I don't know what PlayStation one is using, but obviously I don't know how. I don't know
if they're using like a bit more of a better version or they're using the cheapskate ones.
Like I said, I don't know what's going on with PlayStation in a minute, but obviously it's just that one game. I don't think anything else really causing problems, but yeah. I know that even in performance mode, it still like doesn't really get a high FPS, and people are like, what's the point of having performance? It's basically on the same par as quality mode. So. Because it was like the whole thing of people mocking like Starfield at first, being like, "Oh, you not even got a 60 FPS mode." But, Final Fantasy hasn't it come out and it can't even reach 60 frames? And I was like, "Are you fucking idiots? Like, what are you complaining for? Everyone's fighting over stupid shit, man. Just get both consoles. Stop arguing."
like me.
You got both. I can't afford both, but if I could, I fucking would say that.
Yeah, everything then.
I think so. Yeah.
We're gonna go so you can get some sleep and I can get some food.
Yeah, I need some snooze time. I need to eat still. I need to eat and snooze time.
I need some food and then I'll decide if I want to snooze or not. Right then, that is it for this week's episode. Obviously, you can check it this episode and other episodes that we've done. I mean, this is like episode 70 odd now. I've lost track of what we're on there. We've gone longer than the old podcasting, Connor. We've beat it. You can check obviously all these episodes out on Spotify, Apple Podcast, Amazon Music, etc. Basically, anywhere you can find a podcast, it's pretty much guaranteed you're gonna be on there. And obviously, you can also check it out if you're not currently watching the video. You can check the video out itself on YouTube every Friday at 4 p.m, which is basically the same time it goes out everywhere. Yeah. So yeah, obviously, if you've seen Indiana Jones, put your thoughts in the comments below if you're watching this on YouTube. Let me know your thoughts on the movie. If you liked it, if you think it was much better than the last one, if you didn't like it, and how much basically you didn't like it. Basically, just give your opinions on it in the comments below. And also, have you got a PlayStation that Final Fantasy's killing? Put that in the comments below too.
Stick it down.
Stick it down there. Okay, we're back. It's I've called it. Quick before it goes. Okay, this has been the Chat Cave podcast, and we hope you enjoyed, and we'll hopefully see you next time. Bye. No, again.